This exercise is called the back squat, commonly referred to simply as the squat. The squat is one of the most important movements you can do. It is an excellent overall body developer. It's going to primarily affect the quadriceps, the gluteus, but also the hamstrings, lower back, and just total overall body development. Make sure you include the squat in your fitness routine.
For the squat, you can see that the feet are approximately shoulders width, toes are turned out at about a 30-degree angle. At the bottom of the squat, the hip crease goes below the knee. At the top, the hip is fully open, meaning I'm standing completely up. From this angle, we can see that I maintain proper spinal alignment by throwing the shoulders back and keeping the chest high. Also from this angle, we can see how the hip crease goes below the knee at the bottom of the movement. For our first mistake, we have the knees not tracking the toes. As you descend through the squat, it's important that the knees follow the same plane as your toes. Bowing the knees to the inside is a risk of knee injury. Next we have not keeping the shoulders over the hips. Here I'm leaning far forward, and this is a great risk of lower back injury. Next we have not keeping the force through the heels. Here you can see I'm moving forward on the forefoot, quite exaggerated here. Very important to keep the weight on the heels. From this angle, again, we see the knees bowing to the inside. Again, we want those knees to track the toes throughout the movement. From this angle, we see the shoulders not staying directly over the hips. Leaning forward in this manner is definitely a risk of lower back injury. And finally, we have failing to keep the weight on the heels. Again, I'm exaggerating the movement here, but just focus on keeping that weight on your heels throughout the entire movement. It's important to maintain full range of motion throughout your squat. Here I'm shorting the bottom of the movement. It's important that the hips go below the knees, given you have the requisite amount of flexibility and no medical concerns. Here you can see a nice full squat, hip crease below the knee at the bottom, standing up tall, hip fully open at the top. From this angle, again I demonstrate a poor range of motion. Here you can see the hips staying far above the knees at the bottom of the movement. It's important that we get a full range of motion squat. Here you see the hip crease going below the knee. I maintain weight on the heels, stand up strong through the movement. At the top of the motion, I'm in a complete hip open position.